Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to Wild Arms 2. When we last left off, we were just finishing up the 3 introductions, and it's time now for the main game to start. Here we have a mysterious girl, question mark, watching a comet and hiding from the sun with her black mage hat. I've always wanted to own a black mage hat, but sadly, I never have been able to buy one. Well, anyway, welcome to the Town of Meria, the first actual town that we can interact in the game, and the hometown of Ashley Winchester, who, if you remember, is confined to quarters for disobedience in the line of battle. But it's the good kind of disobedience, the kind where you save a lot of lives, so all is forgiven. Call me a sucker, but I really am just a sucker for specifically the little details and stuff they put into sprite work and things like, Ashley rubbing his eyes, and I know I've said that before, but yeah. Anyway, now we name Marina the innkeeper's daughter. The love interest for the game. Ashley's childhood friend and potential nookie. Anyway, it seems like Ashley has visitors. But that's cool. Let's go visit. Before you go, you want to check all the rooms here. Now, when you're looking for items, all you need to look for are barrels, because for some reason on Filgaia, everyone stores all their stuff in barrels. No other barrels there. Let's see. Just trying to re-familiarize myself with what I have. Nothing in here. This is a bakery, by the way. And Marina comes downstairs. Vit apple. And I guess this is supposed to be Ashley's mother. I'm not real sure. I mean, they never really talk about why Ashley lives on the top of the bakery. Maybe it's his landlady. I don't know, they never really say. There's a lot of stuff that's left unsaid in this game. Got our good friend Tony Stark. Well, I say good friend, we just met the little boy a little while ago. And we also meet Scott Summers. Yes, that little boy's name is Scott Summers, just like Cyclops. See a bit of a theme going between those two characters? And this young man is Tim Rhymeless. He's not named for a Marvel character. Okay, I'm listening. Now, if you tell them, you can actually tell them no, and the story will continue on regardless. But you miss out on a really good item if you do that. If you let the kitten get away with their treasure, well, you miss out on a really good thing. Alright, so let's talk to everybody in the town. Yeah, Tony calls you the dude. We have no shred of honor left. Now, there's plenty of towns in here. The basic towns, shops that are in every town, there's almost always, if not always, a magic shop, an arms shop, a PSS shop, personal skill shop, an item shop, and sometimes there's a weapon shop. Lots of times, like if you're here, the weapon shop and the item shop are rolled into one. Sometimes they have two merchants. It's really just depends. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to buy myself all this equipment. When you're buying equipment for Lilka, you want to really prioritize her armor before her weapons, because you really don't want to use her in battle for her physical attack prowess. That's kind of dumb if you did. Now, personal skills are an interesting, if somewhat, I think, lacklusterly implemented thing in the game. They're really cool. The idea behind them is really cool. I wish more games did stuff like this, and I wish Wild Arms 2 had done it better. But, you know, you can't really complain too much. Okay, now, I explained earlier that you get 1 PS point for every level you gain. I'm level 3, therefore I have 3 points to spend. Different abilities cost different amounts of points per level. You can see up HP requires 3, cut FP use requires 2. Now, most of these skills are actually useless. So let me go through them real fast and explain what each one does and you know, how good they are. Cut FP use reduces the FP cost of your abilities by 1 point. Not your force abilities. They still cost 25, 50, 75, and 100. Your, like, Ashley's Bayonet would cost 1 less FP to use in battle if I bought this skill. That is useless. It is useless, useless, useless. The reason is, every time you gain a level, you start a battle with 1 more FP. At the most, this would reduce the need to get an ability by 3 FP points. That's not a lot, especially when at the end of the game the best stuff costs like 75, 85, 99 FP, you know, all the best abilities that you'll be using all the time. So 3 FP is not going to make a difference. Up HP gives you extra HP every time you go up a level. I don't know the exact percentages or anything like that it gives you every time you level, but the difference in HP for having it maxed out and not having it at all is significant. It is very significant. And if you plan on going after the bonus bosses, it's almost required, because without it, you're going to have to be up in your 70s and 80s to have enough HP not to just fall over and die to face them. Restore HP, basically it restores a percentage of your HP every time your level goes up. It's really useless, especially near the end of the game when you get up in levels and you're not leveling every so many battles. So yeah, useless. Don't buy that. Parameters. I think it raises your maximums, all of your stats, your strength, your vitality, your response, your sorcery, all of them. All of them go up by 9%, 3% per level. There's 3 levels to the skill. So if I have at level 1, every time my force goes up, I would gain 3% to my stats. Well, at level 3, I get a 9% boost to my stats, and it stacks. So if I go up to 100 force, then use all my force, I get to keep that, let's see, that's what, 36% boost to my stats. Well, now I'm back down to 0 force. If I go back up again, I get an additional 36% boost to my stats. I'm not sure if that actually has an upper limit. Critical is useful for Brad, not really useful for anyone else. Advanced Guard is useful because it gives you basically a chance to completely avoid taking damage, although I typically save it for one of the last things I get. Counter can be useful on your physical fighters such as Ashley and Brad, but once again, there are better things to spend your points on. Restore HP 2 is useless. Oh wait, no, wait. This right here, okay, this is the one I was thinking of. This one's useless. This one isn't. I had it backwards. This one is very good. It restores 5% of your max HP every time your force goes up. It's very useful, and it basically is like having free HP. So at level 3, you'll gain 15% to your max HP every time you get 25% of your force up. At the end of the game, this is a lot of HP, and it really, really, really cuts down on the healing you have to do in battle and in like normal battles, and it really cuts down on the amount of damage you take. It's a really good line of defense for the mages such as Lilka, because they'll take more damage, therefore they'll get more force, therefore they'll get healed. So you can see right there how it's really good. That's definitely a max out. This one is the one you want to max out first, by the way. You want to first 9 levels, buy that every time. Let's see. Convert HP is useless because, you know, by the middle of the game, hell, by the middle of the first disc, you're going to have too much HP for that to really be effective. Res up, it can be useful, but I never get it. FP up, useless. Useless. Down guard is useful. Now, it doesn't give you immunity to death attacks, but considering the fact that a bad string of death attacks can instantly, you know, end your game and ruin your day, and there are bosses that use it, it is useful to get. I typically save it for disc 2, though, although there are some enemies starting about, I'd say, the 60% mark of disc 1 that they start to use instant death attacks. It never really has been a problem for me. So, yeah. Like I said, save it for disc 2. Up P attack, up P defend, up M attack, up M defend. All 4 of these are amazing if you put them on the right characters. For example, you don't want up M attack on Ashley. It's useless. However, on Lilka, it's amazing. It not only affects her damage, but it affects her healing. It changes the formula for sorcery that they do. So like, she would end up healing more and doing more damage. Up P defend and up M defend are really good on everybody. Up P attack is really, really, really freaking awesome for Brad and another character that we're not going to get for a while. Ashley, it's okay, but for Ashley, I typically get up parameter first, since he has an ability that requires him to max out his force. So yeah, all of this, all the rest of them, are basically up your resistance to that status helmet. They're useless. Don't get them. And just carry some healing items in your inventory, or the appropriate spell to heal it. Whatever you know you're up against, and you should be fine. Let's talk a little bit about upgrading arms. Oh wait, that's reloading. It costs 100 Gela per bullet to reload, so. Now, you can upgrade arms in one of 3 areas. Attack power, which raises damage, hit percentage, which raises the hit percentage, and bullets, which gives you more bullets to shoot. I mentioned briefly that arms are not nearly as good in this game as they were in the first game. The main reason is you can only upgrade an arm 9 times. They start out at level 1, and the maximum level you can take them is level 10. And every time you get a level, you upgrade something, it raises the level of the arm by 1. So you can see there how that is kind of troublesome. Now for Ashley's arms, I typically do this. I'll raise the hit percentage up 4 times, and then the attack power up the rest. Really, bullets are not something you have to worry about, because you get plenty of bullet loads if you really need more bullets. And then there's the fact of everybody pretty much has a secondary thing they can do. Brad ends up with a lot of really powerful arms. Let's see. Ashley has his force abilities, which do a lot of damage. In fact, they do way more damage than his arms will ever do. Excuse me. Snip. I guess they're cutting off the rest of the story there. Raid these people's houses for items. What have you got to say, man? Young feller, you seem pretty busy. Actually, I'd rather hear the story. I've got people watching me play the game, and they want to know more about the world. So bored of playing inside day after day. I need some excitement. I'm Trey bored. I'm Trey stealing your stuff in your barrels, if there's anything in them. And there's not. Feel so gypped.